Hey, what's up you guys? This is Anthony here from DIYautotech. Today, we're going to be talking about rust. More importantly, how do we get rid of it? Even more importantly, how do we keep it from coming back? Even more importantly, how do we do it in a way that's affordable and that you can actually do it in your garage? Let's get rid of some rust. Alright guys, some tools you're going to need is going to either be a fan or a vented area, some degreaser, this is some rags, which you can actually pick these up for free at Harbor Freight, various abrasive wheels if you're going to be using an angle grinder or a drill. You can use some of these wire wheels as well. Some rust reformer, I use this Rust-Oleum, and some undercoating to go over the top of this. Of safety, we can go two routes here. You can go with the safety goggles, a simple face mask, and just some regular gloves. Or you can go with a mask like this, which is filtered, and some heavier duty gloves, depending on which tool you're going to use. Got our angle grinder here, which we're going to set up with an abrasive disc. You can use a corded drill or cordless, the Dremel if you need to. And if you're an air tool guy, you can use some of these die grinders. And if you want to just go hands-on, you can pick up some of these really cheap, like wire brushes and such. You're not going to need all this stuff to perform rust repair. I'm just showing you all the different options you have, whether you want to use an angle grinder, a die grinder, a drill, a Dremel. So I have all the equipment here for all those. Be sure to think about that before you go purchase all this. You can see all the rust running along this rear differential here, the shock towers, and even up here underneath where the spare tire goes. Everything's pretty rusted out, so this needs to get taken care of. Before I brought the vehicle in the garage is I made sure to pressure wash the undercarriage, or you can use your garden hose as well with a little bit of degreaser just to clean up the surface as much as you can. One side of the car just with the angle grinder. Then I'm going to move to my smaller gun to get in those hard to find areas. I'm going to also combat it with a wire brush and a scraper. And then for really tight areas, I'll take a flathead and I'll grind away at those little thin areas. Make sure you're wearing some sort of eye protection, ANSI 87 approved, and make sure that you're wearing some sort of filtration device. You can see we got a good amount of the flaky rust knocked off. Now a lot of these areas are really tight, so it's going to be really hard for you to get into them. This is why it's crucial that you have a couple different tools in your arsenal so that you can knock some of that rust out. Just using one tool alone really doesn't cut it too well, so have multiple tools with you in order to get this job done. Okay guys, now that I've got the rust knocked down to an acceptable point to me where it's not big chunky flakes anymore, we need to go ahead and degrease the vehicle and wash it off to make sure that all the sediment and all the fine debris are off of the surface so that the converter can actually stick to the surface, and then once that dries we can paint over it and we can have a good looking car again that won't rust. Guys, once you got the degreaser put on, now it's time to come to the car wash. Give it a nice soap and water bath underneath with the high pressure hose just to knock off any additional particles that are still left on. As for a good spray to put on this converter, I look for the 3 C's, which is consistency. Fuck, what are the 3 C's?
A few moments later. 3 hours later.
You can find these anywhere else, baby. 3 C's are cleanliness, vehicle clearance, and consistency. We have already cleaned the frame and the differential. We've got vehicle clearance with the jack stands. And when we're spraying, we'll be consistent with our strokes and our length of time on the nozzle. We'll use a rust reformer like this. This is going to go right onto that bare metal in those rusty areas. And we're going to let that dry, reading the instructions on the back. Everything you get may have different instructions with it, so go ahead and read yours. And once you dry on a coat or two of that, then we're going to go ahead and add some undercoating, which is supposed to go on top of the rust reformer. Little disclaimer, there are much better ways to get rid of rust on your car, but they're also much more expensive and much more time consuming. POR 15, rust converters, you have rust removers, like acidic compounds, biphosphates. You have all kinds of stuff that you can use to tackle rust. At the end of the day, I'm making a video for you guys at home. Most of you guys have access to an angle grinder or to Harbor Freight or Walmart. All of these items can be bought there, and therefore you can perform this job at home. All right, before you guys go crazy with the paint can, think about getting under your car and just taking a microfiber cloth and just really wiping every area down. If there's any dust while you were driving or anything like that, once you washed it, that everything is off the frame and off the diff before you go ahead and lay that base coat down. Alright guys, with just under 4 cans of that rust converter, I was able to do the rear 3/4 of the car. The only part we haven't touched is the front end, because when I go ahead and rebuild the suspension and do a video for you guys, I'm going to go ahead and take care of the front end as well. I'll give you a little look-see under the car. All the frame rails are done, and everything in between, all the cross braces, etc. The drums and the shock absorbers are not going to be painted because we're going to go ahead and replace them. Alright, now we're going to let the car sit for about 24 hours.
Tomorrow.
It's been about 24 hours since we laid that rust converter base layer. So what we're going to go ahead and do is just get under the car with a flashlight, and we're going to check everywhere to make sure we didn't miss any spots. If we did, we're just going to give it a quick touch up, and then we'll go ahead and start painting over that with our undercoating layer, which is our top coat. If you're on the fence about wearing a respirator while you're painting, just keep in mind that if you didn't, all that would be in your lungs. Alright guys, once you've put on the Rust-Oleum undercoating, which is our top layer, our last layer we're going to put on, we're going to let that sit for about an hour and dry up. It dries pretty quick. And then we're going to go back through the vehicle with a flashlight or whatever light you have, and you're going to want to look for any spots that you missed, and we're going to touch those areas up. And finally, once you've touched those areas up and you're satisfied, you can go ahead and put the wheels back on, lower the car off the jacks, let it sit for about 24 hours just to make sure that it's all nice and dry, and then your vehicle is good to go. Next in the series of videos, we're going to be doing some videos on installing shock absorbers or struts, how to use a spring compressor to compress the springs. We're going to be doing a suspension lift on this 3rd generation 4Runner. We're going to do an AC video, so I'm going to show you how to use a set of Harbor Freight AC gauges between $45 and $60 to recharge your AC. Drive yoke repair or drive yoke servicing as well. And leave a comment below guys down there. Just let me know if you want to see some other videos, like we can do some electrical pull out some more expensive equipment if you want, but I try and keep my videos now to like hand tools and that sort of stuff for guys, say, that are at home. But if you'd like to see something a little more advanced, shoot a comment below and we can set something up for that. Cheers to a job well done. This has been another video from Anthony here at DIYautotech. Thank you so much for watching. Like, share, and subscribe if you like. We'll see you next time.
Let it go.